Three. Hello,
And we
everybody.
are live. Oh,
Welcome to another episode of the B Plus Podcast. Hope everyone had a good holiday, good Christmas. We're New Year's Eve tomorrow, which is another big holiday, and I feel like garbage. So
hey, wait.
um,
You have to tell people we're back. Okay.
we're back. Oh, and
We are back.
if you didn't know, the B Plus Podcast is back.
Back.
Even doing this, like I said, under the weather. So Nasum's gonna take this for the majority of it because I'm a hurting pup, but yeah, so what do we got on topic for tonight? We're doing a little bit of a random mixed bag here.
I'm going to call this one the B Plus Podcast, the JavaCast. I'm not talking about the programming language either. I'm talking about coffee types. I went my entire life pretty much not drinking coffee. And I sort of started like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is probably a bad habit with all, the
Caffeine.
caffeine. And it turns out it's delicious. And it's one of the things I look forward to in the morning. So, besides your cappuccinos, americanos, espressos, macchiatos, mochas, lattes, cold brew, you are probably going to have a favorite type of coffee. And what's yours?
To be honest with you, I would drink the stuff that was at the stores, that at the store I worked at. Now I just drink what's at the job I'm at now. So other than that, I really don't. If I had to choose, I like things with a little flavor because I drink my coffee black. So I like things with a little flavor. The best coffee that I know of that I've never had before, just because I would want to get it to make it the right way. They have a certain way of making it, not just like a K. They don't sell K cups. They tried and it didn't work out too well.
Okay.
And they don't do just like the brewing like you do at work or something like that. They have a little bit of a different way of doing it. It looks like it's like diluting through a piece of I don't know. I can send you a picture of it, but it's King's Coast. It's King's Coast coffee.
Good stuff.
It's a coffee by streamers on Twitch and Mixer. Professor Broman, King Gothalion, and K Magic 101. It's their coffee, and everybody that I follow throughout like my streaming journey here, they all swear by it. And I've never tried it. Number one, because when I look at their page, I'm like, I have no idea what to get. And number two, I just feel like I'm gonna make it the wrong way. So I'm like,
Okay.
and it's not expensive or anything. It's actually priced pretty good. So
I was pleasantly surprised moving on from iced coffee in the iced coffee world, which is taking regular coffee and needlessly putting it over ice, which there's nothing wrong with that. I drank a bunch of them. They're
not
good.
that there's anything wrong with that.
There's cold brew. Cold brew's been out for a while. People like Starbucks and Dunkin' pretty much have it on tap. It's delicious, smooth. You don't have to bring the temperature all the way up to go all the way down. They just they brew it cold. Cold brew, man. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Try it out sometime. You might like it, but
I've enjoyed. So at when I was working for my parents, our K cup machine would like randomly go down. So
okay.
I would be out because that's all we had at the store.
Yeah.
So
I had one of two to choose from. Memory serves, it was hazelnut and French vanilla.
Yeah, and then we had a regular like breakfast blend or something it was called. And I always enjoyed hazelnut. So I always had that. That was really good. Like I said, the French vanilla stuff like that, just something with a little bit of flavoring, but still maintaining that 0 calories is something that I was always fond of. I really enjoyed. But I did what I was getting to was I would go to Sheet. I would have to go do the deposit for the bank, and right next to our bank is a Sheets. So I went in there and I started looking, and I'm like, oh, there's like cold brew here, but you got to be very careful because 1 in 20 has 100 to 200 calories. It's all mixed with stuff to make it delicious. So I found one. It was Stokes, and it's actually black coffee.
Okay.
I think it's Stokes cold brew. Let me look it up here. It's ST Motley Crew OK. So I think that's Stoke. I think that's what that represents, or would it just be stock?
Really fun if you wanted to have cold brew at your own residence, at your home.
Okay.
Turns out one of the best ones, the cold brew, the best one to brew it is It's on Amazon. It's $35.99. This one's called the All Right Cold
For
Brew
how
Iced
many?
Coffee Maker. Huh?
For how many?
I think it makes however many ounces. Let me see. Let me see if it's labeled properly. Okay, Amazon, can I take a look at this thing? It's 1.5 liters for $35. If you get the one that's 1 liter, it's $30. It changes.
Okay.
It's relatively easy to make. You just have to brew it. I think the brew time is 24 hours, so you have to just do it in advance, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's funny. That it's a very easy thing to make, and it's a even more simpler thing to be able to buy to do it. I didn't know that. I only looked this up because I read about this in Consumer Reports, and I remember that they were ranking everything, and number one was like $36, and here
That's
it
your
is.
favorite bag, bruh.
Oh, I do like it. I don't really re-up it. It just keeps coming to my house. What's going on with magazines these days?
I don't know. I don't do magazines. Oh, real quick. Can you hear the baby monitor going shh behind me when I'm speaking?
No. And if I
You
could, I'm
can't.
using like my superhuman hearing powers, and I'm listening in a room with nothing on. So
I have it all the way back there. It shouldn't catch it, but I'm just curious.
if anything, it sounds a little bit like white noise or static. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything.
It is white noise. So
Okay. All right. Well, then yeah, that's it.
yeah.
No, it's fine. It's not. It's absolutely not distracting. How about that answer?
Okay, because I don't want people to be listening to this with white noise in the background.
No, it won't be like that.
All right.
So if you have to get a fancy coffee rather than just cold brew or an iced coffee or whatever you're drinking that day, what do you go for? There's all these different coffee types. I talked about 6 at the beginning of the show.
If I'm doing something fancy, like if I go to like Starbucks, bruh, I actually get chai tea. If like I'm not trying to just like get black coffee, because I don't know. I figure like if I'm gonna pay money for something, I'm gonna get something that's awful for me. I'm not just gonna go to Starbucks and be like, give me black coffee, because I don't think that there's gonna be. You think there'll be a huge difference?
What?
In differences of black coffee?
Yeah, depending on the one that's made, depending where the bean comes from, what the color of the coffee is. They say, and this has been, I looked this one up. The lighter the color, the stronger the coffee. So you'll get more of a caffeine kaboom out of something that looks light versus something that's dark.
Okay.
I'll go to Dunkin'. I'll go to Starbucks. Well, the wife goes to these places all the time, so she's always getting something, whether it's a tea or a coffee. These days, it's tea, so I get to taste teas, coffees, you name it.
What's the calories in those, bruh?
I don't know. I don't count calories. I don't even look at them. I don't ever really drink more than half a cup at a time because I'll get a little jittery if I have too much. I don't have great caffeine.
Do you put stuff in it?
No, whatever I order, I just drink as is. I want to know what they're trying to make. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not trying to screw up my latte or my mocha, which the only difference between either of them is that one has chocolate syrup and one doesn't. That's it.
Gotcha.
Everything's espresso, milk foam, chocolate syrup, and water. Actually, the only one that uses water is an Americano. It's like it uses a lot of water. So it confuses me a little bit. That's
the one the fitness program that I use, Kino Body.
Black coffee.
Yeah, but he always drank black coffee because fasting in the 0 calories.
No.
But he always drank Americano, so I'm guessing there's 0 calories.
Let me take a look at its build. Americano, we got. Oh wait, I want the one I had before. I'm gonna send this one to you. It's a neat thing to look at. Well, the top layer is not. Well, the top layer technically is water, and that's almost a third or over a third, and the rest is espresso. So it's water and espresso and Americano.
Oh, okay.
Cappuccino, that's going to be milk foam, milk, and espresso. Espresso is just obviously all espresso. A macchiato is milk foam and then espresso on the bottom, if you had to like think about it. A mocha goes milk, chocolate, espresso, and a latte is just milk, espresso. Done. That's like 6 of the major coffee types, besides just talking about cold coffee, cold brew, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I still I was one of those people that I would limit myself to 4 cups a day, probably hit between the 2 and 3 range every day. But what I was doing was I was going and like as soon as I sat down at work, I'd have a coffee, or when I dropped the baby off, my mom would have one ready for me when I dropped the baby off. And I then found the guy with the snake diet that I was going, and he's like a big advocate for hating coffee. So 9 out of 10 fasting people always say coffee. He's the only one that doesn't. He says it could, it messes up your gut biome, and it could, and it stays in your system for like 16 hours, even if you have
I
like one
read
cup.
that it stays in your system for 16 hours. But if I'm drinking
Yeah.
half a cup in the morning before I go to, when you wake up in the morning and you're dead tired,
Right.
you don't want to go have to even think about going to any job that you've ever worked in your life.
Right.
You're already a coffee drinker. You wake up, you start your routine, you get your coffee ready. When you take your first sip, what goes through your brain? Or what are you feeling?
I just like the warmth. I like the warmth,
Okay. When it's
especially in the winter.
okay, I hear you on that one in the winter. That helps a lot. I take my first sip of coffee in the morning. I go, oh, thank God.
See, I was getting there, and I wanted to break away from that. So when I got into like the fasting, and I was using the salt water. So what I do is, I still have it. Usually Mondays and Fridays. Mondays because Mondays, and then Friday because I usually go to the gym after, so I don't care. Like, I want to be amped up. Plus I usually stay up a little bit later, so that doesn't matter. But what I do is, even on Mondays, what I do is I sit down, I pour my half and half, which is half fresh water, half salt water,
Okay.
in my Yeti cup, and I begin my day with that. And if I yawn, or I'm getting the glassy eye when I'm working, I'll go and have a cup, and then after that cup, if it happens again, I'll have another. It usually doesn't go past 2 anymore. Like I said, I was peaking at 4 a day,
Yep.
and that's 4 cups, measured 8 ounces, whatever. So I definitely have a better relationship with coffee, and between the fasting, I didn't get any really of the downfalls that people are like. One of my buddies, who's Gary, who is a super fit dude, and when he like got off it, he was hurting. He said he hurt bad because he was like he was a big coffee drinker, and I think he drinks it now, but he just wanted to get off it for a little bit, and he had it bad.
Yeah, time, huh?
Yeah, me, I was all right, and I guess it's just because of just the detox in general. I'm not eating food, I'm not eating anything, so everything was probably out of my system a lot quicker than normal. So I didn't really have it. That's another thing. Like, even with when people go into like on keto, and they a lot of people stop because they get that keto flu.
Okay.
I never got it. Number one, because I'm keeping my magnesium, potassium, my salts all high by drinking the salt water. But I just think that through detox, it was better. So like I said, like on Saturdays before the gym, I'll have a coffee. Just days that I don't have to worry about that being in my body.
Now, this is you making your own coffee, correct?
Yeah. Just, well, at home I have the Keurig, and then at work we just have a regular pot that we brew.
Which Keurig do you have at your home?
I have an older one. I don't remember exactly which one. It's really old, actually.
Do you have options like the size of the coffee, like the buttons?
Just 2, yeah.
So it's like large or small, or
Yeah.
medium or large?
Yeah.
Which one do you hit?
Large all the time.
Do you think it just gives you more water along with your coffee, so it's a larger volume?
Maybe.
One time I hit the small one when I knew I wouldn't have enough room in the cup because I had a small cup, and it tasted like a little bit slightly more concentrated because, well, it's not making as much, right?
Right. I mean, that's just what I always hit. Just basically getting, in my eyes, maybe the most out of every K cup.
That's what I thought, but I figured every K cup only has the same contents inside of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
No matter what you do, it's about how much hot water you're pushing through it. I don't mind the Keurig system. I think it's a very smart thing, and it's obviously making money hand over fist. Coffee is an industry that's destroying. America runs on Dunkin'. America runs on Starbucks. America likes coffee, dude. I've seen people posting it's holidays coffee.
Yeah, but it's not coffee what they're drinking. What they're drinking is a milkshake. It's a milkshake.
A milk coffee espresso mix, as we just discussed.
Yeah, it's a milkshake, dude. It's not like
foam, milk coffee, which is just espresso. They're never ever saying that it's coffee. They're just giving you shots of espresso.
But how are people? Here's my thing. Here's my question to you. How are people justifying, like, if I had that much sugar with my coffee, I just think it would even myself out and like just still drag ass. Like, it's people say it's, oh, I need my coffee, but you're also just feeding your sugar addiction.
That's true, depending on how much sugar's in it. Sugar's a big deal that I know we've discussed before.
I don't know one person that goes to Dunkin' on the, okay, let's put it this way. A coworker at at when I worked at the store. When I got hers, it was like something what from Dunkin', like something crazy with this many sugars and this much milk, with whipped cream, with
liquid sugar or the regular sugar.
I don't know, but
different kinds.
it had whipped cream on it and it had chocolate syrup, and I'm like, so like people will go and say, hey, this is coffee. To me, that's just a milkshake. Like,
no, it's like some weird kind of like coffee milkshake. You know what I mean? Like milkshakes are nasty things. That's what they are. They taste delicious. I get that. But when you make a milkshake and you make it with your coffee, you got a coffee milkshake. It's some type of a hybrid. And some people want a shake because they want the sweetness. It's like a dessert. I look at it as like a dessert, basically.
Yeah. What do we tell our kids? You're not supposed to have your dessert before dinner, but we're having it at 8 a.m.
Man, I don't know. I'm never going to be able to wake up and say, every morning I woke up and I had a coffee milkshake before I went to work. I probably should do that. It's the best time of the day to have it. Unless you're doing, which is smart, and that's your thing, intermittent fasting. I think you have an angle to explain to people around the world of what it means to be able to have something work for you with a great amount of success. But I think you need to just slow your roll and tell a person about intermittent fasting before fasting. Because like I know people you work with. And if you told them, hey, how about you fast for X amount of hours, would they laugh at you? Would they?
Probably.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. A lot of people. I mean, I thought the same thing before I started prolonged fasting. I thought, I can't go 24 hours, and then I started going 96, and it was just like
easier.
It was just different. And I remember texting my one friend and I'm like, dude, I'm at 48, I'm at 24, I'm at 48, I'm at 72. And he's like, holy shit. And like I said in the last podcast, man, it just really puts into perspective how hard it is to lose weight. Like I said, if I told you, hey man, I'm not eating 4 days out of the week, you'd be like, you're going to shred weight. And I wasn't. And I mean, I guess that shows how bad my weekends are.
Because you're getting older now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess that shows how bad I binge on the weekends. But
okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's why not that this was going to be a nutrition podcast, but that's
that for Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Then that's the problem is that like when you look at a normal diet regimen, I can't do it because I enjoy my weekends too much at this point. So gotcha. I'm not saying like I'm binge drinking or whatever, but I'm just saying I am drinking, which it's the calories are ridiculous. And then I'm going out for wangs, or I'm going out for pizza, or I'm going out for whatever. Well, this and it's funny because it allowed me to enjoy those things without having to worry about it, and like to me like eating during the week at my weight was like mindless. It was like it was mindless. And once again, not to get into nutrition here, but I was just watching a podcast this past weekend on the couch. I was watching a podcast and it was a guy that's super lean, super ripped, and the guy that was interviewing him asked him, what are you doing? And he said, I eat Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, well, don't you see something? Like he's like, well, what are you eating that day? Is it like 3,000 calories? He's like, yeah, it's probably between like 3 and 4. Like the guy was super ripped, super lean. But he said that he tried both different things. He's like, I tried the 6 meals a day. I tried, just dieting like normal. And he goes, I lost a lot of muscle mass. He went for all DEXA scans, all that shit. And he's like, I lost a lot of muscle while I would be cutting. He goes, with fasting like I am, he goes, it doesn't, because your insulin's not spiked, so you're not losing that muscle. He goes, I maintain most of my muscle. If not, it go up because of the HGH that your body produces while you're fasting, which is the human growth hormone.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, just overall, man, I feel if you can do it, it's the best thing. I mean, people say 6 small meals a day, 6 this or 6 that, but I think at least me, for my weight, it'd be stupid for me to keep my insulin spiked all day. Okay. And I think that's where, this is getting a little far fetched, and I'm no doctor, but I kind of, a little bit believe that our eating habits might be causing a lot of cancer. And I'm not saying like cancer specifically, but a lot of different ones. I feel that maybe just being, having inflammation all day from spiking our insulin levels. And mind you, we're spiking our insulin levels in the worst possible way with coffee milkshakes and not good eating habits.
Spiking your insulin, you're not like sending it up to like dangerous levels where it's like I think I might have to go to the hospital. I have to monitor my mother-in-law, God love her, with her.
Oh yeah, you know all about this. So
this is what it comes down to, people. And we're not going to say more than 30 more seconds because I want to get back to coffee. And then we're
my bad. Sorry about that.
And then we'll finish off with some mixed martial arts. But we'll go into this on the other show. And it's like this: carbohydrates are your enemy when it comes to sugar. Sugar is almost already your enemy when it comes to your sugar in your body. What do you want to avoid? Getting diabetes. What's diabetes going to do to you? Honestly, at the end of the road, what you should be worried about, and this is probably like maybe some parting words of wisdom. Take care of your diabetes, or your legs are probably going to have to come off of your body, and you're going to spend the rest of your time when you're not on dialysis wondering, well, how much longer do I have left? That's like the motivating factor to like check yourself, keep yourself in check, stay with it.
And then
diabetes is no joke, man. It kills Americans like
yeah.
Diabetes eats Americans like Tic Tacs. No pun Nintendo.
And my parting words of it for tonight would be check out Cole. Like I said, he's going to be the most vulgar person you want to punch in the face, probably. But he has cured people with diabetes.
Good.
Through his fasting. He has fasting videos if you are diabetic. And he's cured people. He's one-on-one coached people to help them reverse their diabetes. And I don't know a lot about diabetes, but what's the bad one? 1 or 2? What's the worst one?
None of them good. You don't want any of them. Just trust me on this one. Sometimes I say trust me on this one, and I won't go into an explanation, but I will on the other cast. That being said, I'll segue straight back over to
go ahead.
Our economy spent $74.2 billion on coffee in the year 2015. Talk to me.
It's a big number, man.
Yeah,
that's a big number.
Lot. That's a lot, man. 28 billion in taxes alone of the 72. Is that how that goes? That's what I'm reading. That's nuts.
That's nuts. It's crazy.
I mean, what does it fall under as far as the coffee industry or coffee shops? They're just part of the eatery industry, right? This is your industry, isn't it?
Was. Well, yeah, it still is, I guess. Gotcha. Even though I'm just doing accounting.
How do you like that? Real quick.
I love it, man.
It's better than working. Okay.
Well, it's I mean,
what you were doing. Correct.
It's better than customer service.
Okay, gotcha. I went to see the movies today. I went to the movies today, to the Cinemark. And I saw Star Wars.
And what'd you think? You can't spoil it for me yet, but
I won't. I'm pretty much always spoiler free, but I mean, if you liked 7, you'll probably like 8. If you like 8, you'll like 9. It's a Disney production now. J.J. Abrams is back around to make sure he can control the ship, and it's a good movie.
What's your favorite of the 3?
Of the 3, these 3?
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Maybe this one or Force Awakens. They really jumped to. They had a hard time with the Last Jedi, and you and I scrutinized the trailer. So when I got to actually watch it, I was just like, "Oh, this thing's got major pacing issues."
Right. Yeah.
What's my favorite of all of them? I'm just gonna say Empire. I said that in the beginning, and I'm still saying it because it's just the best one. 1, 2, and 3. Did you ever see those?
Not really. I really don't care because by the time I started caring about Star Wars like I do now, I already knew they were terrible. So, well, everybody says that they're terrible, so I never really sat down and watched them.
4, 5, 6 are excellent. 4, 5, and 6 are the reason we're here talking about it today. Those are the originals. 1 in the 70s, 2 in the 80s.
From George Lucas.
Yeah, and that's back when he was just knocking stuff out like he was a superstar. He went a little kooky since then, made 1, 2, and 3, and well, he had to sign over a lot of stuff for Disney's Star Wars. But he did keep rights on stuff. We should read about that someday, maybe not today. Mr. Lucas. Skywalker sound, THX special effects.
Yeah.
Himself, man. He's like, why I'll be state of the art. That's what I'll do. And then he did that, and he showcased it with 3 movies, and people went bonkers.
Who shot first?
What do you mean, who shot first?
Han or Greedo?
No, Han Solo shot first. Then he had to stay to be an
Did,
animal. He survived.
did,
It's
did,
survival. God, I can't say it.
did you ever see the interview with Harrison Ford and they ask him and he goes, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's part of his shit, though. I've watched Harrison Ford in interviews. He likes to be the grumpy old man. He won't give you anything good to work with. He'll just be like, he'll be grumpy and old man-ish about everything, and he laughs about it afterwards. He'll even tell you he's doing it.
Yeah,
But
he's like,
no, it's trivial. Like, okay, so George Lucas gets it in his crazy brain. Sorry, George. Sorry, gorgeous George. That it's not nice enough. Han Solo's character wouldn't do that. He'll only fire in self-defense. So then he kind of like put in like digitally the special effect that Han was shot out under the table, and in self-defense, Han shot the person or the thing in front of him. It's an alien.
alien, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like that's back when I was like younger, and even I knew him. Like, hey, George, you shouldn't mess with this. You already got a good thing. Why are you changing it?
That's so weird. Can you imagine going through and like changing aspects of movies, like to not that it's like character defining or something, but like something that, you know, kind of makes the character like that showed it was either like Han was a
he's a smuggler, and he's a,
yeah, it's like it's
SOB, you know what I mean? That's
yeah, that's how it was supposed to be, and then he's like, nah, you know what, I'll turn it down.
Han's a good guy.
Han's a good guy, yeah.
He wouldn't do that. Pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Or you know what? I'm watching scenes of like we want to put this scene of Han talking to Jabba back in the Star Wars. How cool would that be? And I'm like, oh well, I don't think you really need. Okay, you do it. So they have an actor playing Jabba, who's this big giant thing. You've seen Jabba the Hutt, right?
Oh yeah.
So Han walks around them because they're just talking and it's shot and it's practice. But you can't walk around. You can't walk around Jabba the Hutt because his tail's back there.
Right.
So they digitally put Jabba the Hutt over this guy, right? And then when Han walks around him, because there's no other recordings of it, they're not going to redo it, just the original. Right. They have him step up, like he had to step on his tail, and like Jabba goes like that. I'm just like, oh come on, guys, really? It's
what happened to
digitally move him up to make like he was stepping up, and then put him back down like he was taking a step.
What the fuck? Yeah, what happened?
Hard-carrying psychopath.
Yeah, like
the details that no one would ever think of in 1,000 years. And then he puts out the
to make things worse.
Huh?
To make things worse.
He thinks he was fixing his vision, and like I kind of like the original vision. That's me.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, people do it with albums and stuff. They remaster and do this.
And most people will probably agree about this. I think they would. You watch Star Wars, you see the end of Jedi, and you have the Jedi ghost form of Anakin Skywalker, played by the guy who played the face of him in the movie, not the bodybuilder, not James Earl Jones.
Right.
And you had Alex Guinness playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, George wasn't happy with that after he put out his new movies. So he went back in and needlessly changed the ghost forms to the younger ones, played by Obi-Wan was Ewan McGregor.
Right. Wait, when?
Oh, he did this after. He's changing Jedi again. He's going back to his original movies and changing them again. So he did this in the 90s when he put.
Wait a minute. I don't know about this. You got to explain.
Oh, yeah. So now the ghost form of Obi-Wan Kenobi
in the original movies
are now the younger versions. So instead of being the guy who was in Jedi, it's Hayden Christensen, and instead of it being Alec Guinness, it's Ewan McGregor. Because when they
at the end of Jedi, when they're all together, right?
Yes, because when you die and go to where the good part of the Force keeps you as like an image or a ghost, you look like the young you, the good looking you, not the old you. Why? Leave it alone. It was a film. You were done. just he adds. I can't help but laugh. I just to describe it to you, it makes your mind hurt, right? Like,
yeah. The only analogy I could think is like when and I can't get quoted here. I don't know exactly how it was, but when like Ozzy like put out like remasters of albums, and of course Sharon had like problems with people, so they like re-recorded like Rudy Sarzo's bass or like Jakey Lee's guitar, even though like if we know anything about Ozzy, we know he doesn't write anything.
No, that's done for him now.
So Sharon would come and be like, you better do this, and Jakey Lee's like, nah, I'm good, and they're like, all right, well, and then they remaster it and they like took out his shit and they're like, and re-record it, and everyone's like, "Are you kidding me?" And then they like, "Okay, we'll put it back in."
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I forget exactly the story. That's not it. Like, but yeah,
Who was their guitar player? The guy Zach Wild, is that his name?
that was for a long time. Jakey Lee was before him.
Mr. Reed himself, because that's all he really did. They made fun of him on like Aqua Teen Hunger Force for that. I don't know if you remember that show.
And all of Ozzy's albums were
he played.
All of Ozzy's albums were it said all stuff written by Ozzy Osbourne. Like no one else was ever like shown until like later.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Black Sabbath stuff, he had people that they knew what they were doing. They could have just did all that stuff for. He was probably a really good singer back then before he got. Oh God! Before Ozzy ran into Father Time, who wasn't very kind to him, was it? Was he?
No.
Was he now?
Yeah.
He had a show with his son. What's the son's name?
Jack. Yeah.
He has a show with him somewhere. It's on like, it's not a major network. It's like deep cable, hidden cable.
I can't find the. I was looking for the story quick to see about it, but we're not talking about Ozzy, so we don't have to.
All right, the Ozzy cast will be paused.
The Ozzy cast.
When we get to Ozzy, we'll change it. We'll go from like the B plus podcast to the F plus fart cast, and we'll start talking about Ozzy all the time. But they were filming, and he walked off like into a direction and started peeing on the ground, and then like people tried to went over him. They're like, Ozzy, you can't do that here, and he didn't care.
The bark at the moon. The bark at the moon podcast.
Yeah, that'll be the Alamo podcast. I think. Oh, okay, do it. Go do it. I want to hear one.
I can't. Too sick.
Okay. Let's move on, and we'll go over to. Did you want to say anything about the Star Wars movies that you've seen, which is 7, 8, 9? Well, you didn't see 9 yet, obviously.
Right. I don't know.
You're making money hand over fist.
The Force Awakens was really cool. Because obviously Star Wars was the Star Wars was back. And they had a fresh vision and all that, and the thing. And the things that happen in the movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only thing that I'm always salty over is that they showed Kylo Ren was gonna be this badass, and he ended up being a kid from My Chemical Romance back in the early 2000s. Not that I don't like My Chemical Romance, because I actually like them, but.
You're like, I'm listening to them on low right now.
They were like they found a guy from Hawthorne Heights.
Oh no.
Ohio is for lovers.
Oh my god, that's some old school stuff, at least for you
and I. What was the lyrics of Hawthorne Heights? It was like,
I don't remember that stuff.
Punch me in the face and slit my wrist, or something like that.
Well, okay, if you're gonna let somebody punch you in the face, then you just asked for it. And
yeah. Ohio is for. Hold on, we gotta continue. We can't just hold on.
Did you have to get punched in the face for someone else?
Yeah, dude, I was close. So the hook goes. And I can't make it on my own. And then someone goes, and I can't make it on my own. And then someone goes, because, or the singer comes back and goes, because my heart is in Ohio. And then it goes, so cut my wrists and black my eyes.
Oh, okay.
So and then someone yells, and then someone in the background yells that. So
it's serious.
Yeah. And then he says, so cut my wrists and black my eyes so I can fall asleep tonight or die. Because you kill me, you know you do. You kill me well, you like it too. And I can tell you never stop until my final breath is gone.
What? How do you know that? Did you already die? Are you undead? Like, are you writing this to us like from another place?
Dude, we might just have to do emo read-alongs. The podcast.
I want you to add stuff like before you look it up, because that was really fun when you did there. You had punched my face and slit my wrist. And I'm like, well, that's a song I get behind.
Then again,
singing this song, I dream about punching his face.
Then again, on the flip side of that coin, we could just read Cannibal Corpse lyrics and get demonetized for the rest of our lives.
10 intelligence once that happens. It gets worse and worse. What do you want? We'll end up on 6 Feet Under lyrics.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that stuff's the pits. No way, man. I can't talk about that stuff. That was... Oof.
Dude, I used to jam that Hawthorne Heights song all the time too.
Yeah, but now you hear it and you're just like, wow, what was I thinking?
Dude, that's awful.
You're like, I'm glad I didn't get my Hawthorne Heights tattoo.
Yeah. Oh my. I mean, you remember it all. With
Romance tattoo. You would have loved that one. Right on your arm.
I actually didn't like My Chemical Romance until like later years. I like them now. Well, compared to that, man, and dude, you know, it was such a shitty. Like, I still love Census Fail. I love that band. Like,
okay, you did. I remember you liking them.
I love Census Fail, and they have some messed up lyrics, but
I heard like a little bit of it. I'm like, hey, it's not.
One of my favorite lyrics from Census Fail was when he spoke about taking someone up to the top of like a skyscraper or a large building, pushing them off, then running down the steps just so he could see them hit the pavement.
That would never happen. Like,
I know, but they were just, but they like matured a lot, and
somebody become a physicist too and realize that.
No, not that. They just like matured their sound. I mean, and it was like in a good way, you know.
You'd have to push them, jump off yourself, and then have a parachute if you wanted to even get remotely close to them. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Not well thought out lyrics,
dude. Even good bands.
On the way down, did you ever walk downstairs, dude?
Yeah,
you do that. Not fast at all without falling.
Even going through like Under Oath, I just hated the scene, man. Like, you'd go to one of those concerts, man, and like they're talking like Hawthorne Heights or even Under Oath, man. Like, I know you were an Under Oath fan, but like going to those concerts, man, and like you had people with keys in their hands swinging. Remember, they would put the key.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
And they'd mosh in the air to like what? What was the key? Because you want to hurt somebody? Like, I don't understand it.
My poor cousin always got a shot to the midsection. Every concert we went to, it was like we had to time it.
Yeah.
Like, how long until my cousin gets a shot to either his abdomen or you shook it for the right noise? I'm telling you, you can't hear it.
No, I was just checking to see if he was crying.
Oh no, I think you're good.
No, he should be down for the night. But
cool.
Yeah. So we went off on another tangent, but I like that.
We also accidentally created another podcast. What cost that going to be?
We're gonna
JavaCast.
No, we're gonna read emo band lyrics from back in the day.
Can we play the video where when even the emo people tell the other emo people, what are you gonna do? Go home and listen to Belle and Sebastian? And
it's like I'm only just so everybody knows listening. I'm knocking it because I listened to it.
You listen to all of it. I listened to way too much of it before I like wisened up and got out of there.
Yeah, like
you're out.
I was. This is one here.
It's gonna be a good one.
Nope. It's not as good.
Listen to Too Much Thursday. Ugh, I hear that now and I'm like, wow, I like this. I know that's blasphemy for
the singer from Thursday got together with
who? Geoff?
Got together with the people from Lost Prophets because we don't want to go in what their singer did. But he got together with them to make a band. I can't remember the name, but they put out an album and it was awesome.
Really?
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
What have you been listening to these days? Just before I switch over to MMA.
I could give you a rundown. I've been very into shoegaze.
Oh my god, that stuff.
I've been very into shoegaze / black gaze. One of my albums of the year is the new album by Alcest, Spiritual Instinct.
Okay.
Arch Echo, I jammed. You know about them. I'm just going through my stuff real quick. This isn't from this year, but Caligula's Horse was a band introduced to me by my friend. I think In Contact, their last album is 2 years old.
Okay.
That's excellent. The last Coheed album is incredible.
I didn't hear that one. That's not the serious one, right? The one like, we're not going to talk about aliens and spaceships anymore.
No, it's back to the Armory Wars.
Oh, okay, good. That's what everyone liked. Just do what you're already good at. Stop reinventing the wheel. Stop playing at the Gallery of Sound on a Thursday morning, you weirdos. That goes back to you, Claudio.
A band named Fen, the Deadlight. That could be that could be in with that black gaze type stuff. A rapper named JPEG Mafia I really loved this year. Probably best find for me is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Probably the band that I've jammed the most. They put out two albums this year, which was Fishing for Fishies, which was their blues album, their blues / boogie album. Every album has its own genre. So if you don't like one album, you might love another.
That's
And
pretty
then their second album they put out this year was Infest the Rat's Nest, which is straight up thrash.
good. Oh, thrash metal. Oof, that's a blast of the past.
Yeah.
Let's go 1980s. There's two bands like Metallica and someone else.
Not the latest album, but I've been getting into Leprous. Madion finally put out his new album after he's another EDM artist that I'm in love with.
I find
Newman Oreen.
Yeah, these days.
Newman Oreen was a band that I jammed a ton. Adore. That's straight like black metal. I listened to a ton of black metal.
I was so surprised you went that route. Black metal is a very specific thing. They do.
It's that black metal that with that atmosphere.
Okay.
That atmospheric black metal I just love. I think
I'm not saying they're not very talented musicians. They've probably logged insurmountable hours on their main instrument or multiple instruments. Like they got the skills to pay the bills. There's no doubt about that. I don't. I think I've listened to that style and styles that were, like it, is like black metal so much that I wore it out in my own brain. I can't do this anymore. It's the same thing.
well, it's different now. I mean, black and death metal is, or I'm sorry, black and black gaze, which is like shoegaze with black metal. It's something that Deaf Heaven made popular a couple years ago with their album Sunbather. It was critically acclaimed by a bunch of critics, which was like the first time in I don't know how long that a black metal album was in like the top 10 charts on say Billboard or Rolling Stone.
Which one for their country, right?
For their album Sunbather.
Okay.
The latest from Opeth, incredible.
Uh-oh.
Incredible. Incada, yeah, incredible. Obviously Periphery. I got super into Periphery this year.
Good for you. Listen to that too. Next.
Run the Jewels I've always listened to. Shadow of Intent, Melancholy, that was one that was incredible. I sent you the instrumental off the album and you sent me, yo, this is incredible. I
like instrumentals. I'm into stuff like that. I also like the prog rock of all the pretty much all the stuff that you listen to when it comes to prog. It's good stuff. Like when I take a break, it's always EDM. And currently, I've been checking out a scene that not many people are into. It's called the Chill on the XM channel because I have it for a couple months.
Right.
And it's just deep house and down tempo. That's the best stuff. The best way I could say it. It's just like for a chill mood when you want to relax.
Right.
So I'm trying to come up with. I'm going to run this one past you. I'm trying to come up with let's say a 10-track list that's a super cool ultra chill checklist that anyone can listen to. You can listen in the background, listen while you're working, you can listen while you're driving your car. And I think that they're going to be universal to pretty much anyone. And that's a big statement to make because, well, what music is generally liked universally? None. Right. I mean, some people like it all. Some people like certain things.
I'll wrap this up, but sure. Tool, Fear Inoculum, amazing. The new Slipknot, incredible.
Really?
Yeah, I love it, man. We Are Not Your Kind. Great album. They have Jay Weinberg on the drums now, which one of the...
Yeah, why did they replace the original member?
He left. Well, he said he said he got fired via Singing Telegram.
What? They said them at Singing Telegram telling him he was fired from
Joey Jordison, who was basically the mouthpiece for the band back when they were all like, more we don't want you to know who we are type deal. But yeah, so I probably haven't covered everything, but I will say that the two best albums, which are basically tied for first, are Thank You Scientist, Terraformer, which
I've heard that. We've listened to that in your Rogue.
Right, which is everything. I mean, if you're a fan of progressive, if you're a fan of Coheed, they're actually signed to Coheed's label. I didn't know that.
That makes sense.
Right.
They're like they would endorse each other. They probably could tour together.
Right.
And they're super fun to listen to. But I think I was able to shed a light on something for you this year. And although we talked about it in the past, listening to audio files, if you're not trying to be, I'm in the vinyl, I'm in the turntables. There's nothing wrong with that. But I guess I have a few issues with it. I'd rather my files be large, digital, FLAC, or lossless, and I need a player to be able to play them. And then you're talking about how good is your headsets that you're using to listen to these things? Like how clear is it? Does it have an algorithm or a formula in it that changes the way the original sound sounds?
If you're using if you're purchasing headphones and you're using FLAC files, if you're if you have them on your phone or you're streaming, say from Tidal like I do, you want to make sure your headphones are aptX capable, which is APT-X.
That's good.
That will make sure that you're getting the best quality to your headphones, and then everything else is based on how the headphone is. But if you don't have that aptX, you're already, regardless of how good it is, not getting the greatest sound. And then, like I said, tied for number one is Thank You Scientist, Terraformer, and Sleep Token. Sleep Token is incredible. It blew my mind. A lot of people.
Other two for you, but I can vouch for your Thank You Scientist right here and right now.
Yeah, Sleep Token is probably gonna be very polarizing to some people, but all it is very slow singing, like pop almost, and then in the middle, and then every song builds and builds and builds and builds, and then you have a friggin' Meshuggah slash Deftones breakdown.
Okay.
With the singing, and it just, everything is just, it's one of these like new singers like Bon Iver or Sam Smith or something like that, and a lot of people that I've introduced it to are like, dude, there's no way I'm listening to this. But I listened past that. I listened to the whole album, and it was the first album besides Fear Inoculum, just because Tool hadn't put out an album in so long, that I would just put on repeat. I couldn't do that with Thank You Scientist as much because their album's like 75 minutes, but or like 65 minutes or something. But
do that, come talk to me.
yeah. Anything over 45 minutes, you have to really sell me.
No. When you can do the 75 over and over, then that's when we proper conversations.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because regardless of how good an album is, attention spans are awful these days. So
I don't know. I think you did a good job with a 45er, huh?
Yeah, Sleep Token. But that's the thing, is I say this about a 75-minute album, but then I think it's just listening to songs over and over and over again. So you just get that, and you learn an album more. Like, well, one of my favorite metal albums is The Blackening by Machine Head, and
nice choice.
And it was 6 songs, and they were long as fuck. And the cool thing is, though, is that you'd go 15 minutes, kind of like Periphery but Reptile. You go, and just because, like, if you listen to 16 minutes of, let's say, 4-minute tracks or something, it just feels different than one cohesive song. So when you're finished with that, like, I went to Reptile over and over and over and over, and now, like, I know it inside and out. Where if that was 4 different songs, I wouldn't be able to tell you if I would memorize those 4 songs as good as I did Reptile as one song.
Because they gave you a pretty good heaping of a portion as far as the song goes. It was pretty good. And at the same time, I was really happy to see that it was going to be the lead track off of Periphery's latest album, Hail Stan. Oh, before we forget, let me bring up my camera so I can see what I'm talking about. You gave people good advice. I'm going to give them even better advice. If you're using earbuds, you have to get these. These are Comply foam tips. You squeeze them, you put them in your ear. It completes your ear canal, kind of being like a cylinder, and it makes things sound amazing. And my friend right here can tell you the success he's had with them also.
Yeah, you told me about them. The ones that I got, I still use the Jaybird X3s, and it was totally different. It was totally different.
I hate to use the quote, but it's a game changer.
Well, that was my first intro into, what are they? They're not silicone, obviously. They're foam tips. So that was the big deal, and I've realized that
they will wear down. They will eventually break like anything else. But you've been walking. Anyone that's been using silicone without trying foam has been walking around with like it's like you have blinders on for your ears. You have no clue on all the stuff that's literally leaking out, and you can't capture or hear or understand.
Yeah, I also, which the No Complies helped me with, is I've realized that for whatever reason, my ear, so I always buy the 3-pack with the multi-sized ones because I just didn't know, and a lot of different sizes fit my ears, but I realized that the ones that are shaped like the end of like a bullet they don't work as well as the ones that are like circles that look like a I don't know, like a basketball with a hole in it or something.
Thank you for trying to describe them. What you're trying to get at and what you're trying to say is not only Complies, do they work very well? Do you have to get a little used to them? Yeah, but You got to figure out what size is the right one for you. So if I order, I just order larges. I don't even order like the mediums or smalls with it. I only want large to fit my gigantic melon of a head.
Right.
And you said that you like a different one, correct?
Yeah, I got like the variety pack because I didn't know at the time, and I think 2 out of 3 work the same, like exceptionally well, and then one is those bullet ones that I had in the pack when I would lift at the gym, when I would get into like a certain position, it blocked my ear,
It changes the pressure. Yeah.
and
That happens to me too.
I would turn. Have you ever tried the circle ones?
No, once I found out how snug the bullet style ones you're describing, the large ones are,
Yeah,
I kind of just stuck on with those. But like, here's my asterisks.
you might be getting. You might even have a better time if you could figure out the circle ones. Like I said, that does not happen at all. Like I squat, I deadlift, I bench, I do this, I do that, and it does not. Nothing changes. With those bullet ones, it does change, which is scary because
they're thick, they're big too.
I'll get into a certain thing and I'll be like, oh, the music's down. I'll turn it up and then I'll bend over to like deadlift. I'm like, what?
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. Yeah. It's like a blast.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is destroying my ears. This is not good.
Let me think. I've been using them currently with a couple of corded headphones, which I love using them with, but I was able to on Black Friday pull the trigger on getting some. I think who makes them? Does Jabra make those 65?
Jabra, yeah.
Yeah. So I got the 65Ts and they came with silicone and they sounded awful. And they were actually, I turned my head and I was catching stuff like this, like flying out of my ears, catching my own earphones. And then I put in the complies and I was fine. But like I said before, here's my problem. I can't put them back into their charging case to charge because, well, the complies are used. So I'm going to have to rip them off to charge them. That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy. That sucks though.
It does stink a little bit. That's for earphones. Now, mind you, those are, what's the style of those earbuds? What do you call them those?
Yeah, they're the like wireless earbuds.
Yeah, they're more than wireless though, because it's just like beep boop, and that's it. That's all you have in your head.
All right. Well, they're like, they call it like true wireless.
There, it's true wireless. That's my first go with true wireless. It's fine with the comply, not fine without the comply. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Talked about coffee, the JavaCast. Talked about some Star Wars and some things that we needed to. Well, we'll talk more once you see the next movie, the 9th one.
Okay.
And they're doing the MMA Awards. And I was texting you the other day because you said you wanted to know more about the names of who's around these years. Because if you don't keep up, there's a lot of names, dude.
Too many names.
There's a lot. Because
before you start, can you comment on Rampage throwing that fight the other night?
Wait, what happened? It already happened?
He took a fall.
No way.
He flopped. He took a fall.
Are you talking about he came back after he was hurt and he fought in Japan?
He fought the greatest fighter of all time.
Well, the last emperor who's racking up like losses left and right.
What's his name?
Fedor Emelianenko.
That's it. I'm sending you the flop right now.
Oh no.
You should have it on your phone.
Well, let's talk about this before I even see what happens. Fedor needs a win. The biggest name in MMA, which is an old name in MMA, comes back, but he can't hang because the guys are ridiculous.
Rampage looked thick AF.
He always does that. He always does that.
Yeah.
Well, he's been out for years doing an injury because in his fight before this one, he was told not to fight. And he says, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll be fine." And he hurt himself really bad. So then he's back now, gets a fight with Fedor Emelianenko in Japan, which is cool because these guys are old Pride stars, which took place in Japan. So then to be in Japan again is pretty cool, but they're under the banner of Bellator. So Bellator likes to make a big spectacle out of their fights. And this one, all right, I'm looking at pictures of it. It's not looking that great. Okay.
Just look at your phone. You could see the actual thing happening.
Charging over there. I can't look at it. I have to charge it on the plate because my USB 2.0 broke. Stinks. I should buy your phone.
You want me to
hook me up with your phone? Yeah.
Email it to you?
Yes, please.
Share.
Would Quentin Rampage Jackson, like, would he throw the fight?
He threw the fight, man.
Maybe, yeah, maybe he did.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
Unless he got caught. I mean, Fedor is still dangerous. To say the last thing to go is power. You know what I mean? The guy has one punch knockout power. He's done that to people his entire life. That's how he got, like, he's stoic. He doesn't show any emotion. He either wins or loses. So he used to win a lot, and then he became somewhat of a relic, and they wanted to tie him up with legalities of this and that, and just went away for a while.
I don't have your email, so forget it.
Don't worry about it. We got this. I'm already on the webs. So the awards are happening. The Hollywood Awards. And I sent you a list. I'm like, this guy should get it. This one should. And the one I told you at the end, I'm like, I don't even know why this guy's on the list. He probably shouldn't win. He won it. So
Really?
George Masvidal is the UFC Fighter of the Year for 2019. I don't understand. He had a great year. He landed one of the fastest knockouts of all time against a guy who was really, really good. He fought for the BMF title, which is a fake title. You can figure out what the letters mean.
Right.
It was a very, very, very like not a great ending. Like not Nick, Nate, his brother, his eye blew up, and the doctor called it, and he wanted to keep fighting. So then they gave the Rock comes out and gives the belt to George Masvidal, and it's just like like you didn't win. Like you won it, yeah, but he hurt his eye and they had to stop it. It's not badass. It's just like, oh, that's strange. And he's holding the belt. Yeah, I did it. And we're like, well,
yeah, kind of not. Jesus.
If you want to watch some entertaining stuff, watch his George Masvidal stuff lately. He's doing so. He's just, I don't know. He's a street fighter that really is breaking off into his own. He's got some really, really nice, crisp boxing, and he landed a flying knee in seconds on Wrestling Master, which was Ben Askren. So
okay,
check that out. That's fun to watch. As far as the awards, I don't know. I don't really care. I don't know who chooses this stuff. Fighter of the Year with the Daniel Cormier, DC. You know him,
right?
Female Fighter of the Year. Let me see who got that. Amanda Nunes. That's nothing to think about. She has 2 belts. She has both belts. She's a monster.
Right.
No one's stopping the line. As Breakthrough Fighter, Israel Adesanya. That's who I thought got a one Fighter of the Year, but he got Breakthrough because he's new. You won't know that one. No one will care about this one. Fight of the Year went to Tony Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis. I'm going to rewatch that one. That's a good one to watch. KO of the Year, Chris Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. Oh, because Amanda Nunes, we never saw Chris Cyborg. You know, remember the Cyborg, Chris Cyborg?
Yep.
She's a dangerous Brazilian fighter, and she wouldn't drop down weight, so she stood at 145. Amanda Nunes comes out swinging in the first round, clips her with a couple of them. You look at her face, and she's like, I've never been hit like that before. It knocks her out, and like the show's over, and like everyone's just like, oh my God, Amanda Nunes just completely destroyed Chris Cyborg, who was a beast. And then her contract was up and she's gone. She went to Bellator.
Oh, the place where they just flop?
Well, I don't know. They ran into problems where she thought she was a bigger star than UFC did at that time. And they have new management and they told her, see it. She's like, fine, I'll go over to Bellator. And that's where she is now. Upset of the Year, Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. That makes sense. We just talked about that. I'm not going to go into these. No one's going to give. Crap. Dana White wins whatever leading man of the year every year. UFC wins best promotion every year. I don't even know why this is here.
Is there other nominees?
Yeah.
Dana White?
Yeah. He just wins it every year because like he's obviously like the face of MMA, sort of.
Right.
Where is it? Let me find this one here. Dana White. Okay, leading man. Dana White winner. Jeff Nowitzki. Scott Coker is the only other one you can rightfully say should be able to have a shot at it. And Scott Coker is currently in charge of Bellator. So, like, yeah, there's really no one to choose from. It's going to be Dana White all the time.
That's funny.
It's weird. Journalist of the Year. Here's another one. MMA Journalist of the Year. Can you tell me who it is? Because you already know the answer.
Ariel.
Yeah, he wins it every year too. Ariel Helwani. He's great too. I watch this stuff.
Yeah. I love that he's great, and then like Dana just always tries to throw him out for asking the tough questions.
He asks the questions that aren't as fun as Dana wants things to be because he's a promoter, and the other guy is trying to do an interview. You know what I mean? So he's trying to be critical. I have to give him credit where credit's due. Oh, let's cut this conversation off to end on Connor's fighting next month, or maybe this month if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
What do you have to say about that?
I mean, and anytime I know someone who's fighting is a plus. So I'm looking forward to it and seeing what he does.
The Cowboy, you remember that guy, Donald Cerrone?
Yeah, I know Cowboy well.
He had a son, and it's reinvigorated his life. Not that he needed.
Oh, jeez.
So he's
the guy that fought every other week.
The guy who was like trying to be like, I don't care anyone anywhere. I'm not even trying to make a title run, which we're like, dude, you have the stuff to make a title run. You should do that.
Yeah.
He goes, I just want to get paid and I want to fight a lot. And Donald Cerrone turned in the term's called a gatekeeper. So if you can hang in the UFC, you got to be able to be one of the gatekeepers. Well, Donald Cerrone is a gatekeeper's gatekeeper. Like he fought for like like championships. He didn't win,
Yeah.
but he got really close. We
Right.
think he might be able to do it this time. The last time he fought, he got.
That's actually really exciting. Actually,
it's going to be a good fight. So
Yeah.
Connor's looking at this like as a tune-up fight. So he's going to get ready to go after Khabib. again.
Connor just posted him, and he's ripped the shreds too.
He looks in better shape than when he went against Khabib, because I don't know
Yeah.
what he was doing during that camp, rather than like not showing.
Is this out of Connor's weight class?
They're going to meet. Let me look at this. Let's see where it's going to be. I'll just put in his name.
Because Connor looks big. He looks thick.
Well, I mean,
He looks ripped but thick.
he's always ripped. He's kind of. I mean,
He's fucking Conor McGregor.
He's always ripped, but that doesn't mean he's healthy. You know what I mean? Like he was
Right.
ripped when he went to go fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Khabib like wiped the floor with him.
Right.
It's like it depends on who you're against. This is a good matchup for Conor because they're both strikers. They'll stay on the feet. I mean, if Donald wants to put it, if the Cowboy wants to put on.
When's that fight?
Oh, it's let me see here. It's coming up. We should definitely watch it and talk about it. No. Let's move over here. That already happened. Gee, what are you showing me? What are you doing here? This is old. Well, it's going to be a numbered card, so let me just start with that. There we go. 246. It's going to be happening at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, January 18th, 2020.
Oh, okay. Pretty soon.
People are probably fighting tooth and nail to get on this card, because when you're on a Conor card, it's going to gross a lot. So everyone's going to make money, and if you have the options in your contract to kind of make scale up with how much it's selling, then this is a huge draw. Well, you want to make some money. This is money now. He lost his last 2 fights, Conor. He's still pulling in record numbers.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think it matters if he loses to him. Oh, it looks. Oh, look. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying right now. Let's see who's going to be in it besides him. And there's more people now. Holly Holm against Raquel Pennington. Nice fight.
And Holly Holm will lose again.
We got Claudia Gadelha against Alexa Grasso. Another really good fight. Anthony Pettis versus Carlos Diego Fiera. That should be a pretty good fight. I don't know who this one is right here. Maurice Green's a heavyweight. I'll look into it later. The undercard's not bad at all. In the early prelims, well, we'll just say they're the early prelims. And yeah, that should be a fun night. That's going to be, what did I say it was? January 18th. I bet you it's a Saturday.
Nice. Did you watch The Witcher at all?
Which one?
The Witcher? You know, the popular video game / book series?
They made that into a series?
Oh yeah, with Superman. Is Geralt.
Wait a minute. With Superman?
Yeah.
Like a DC character?
No, like the Henry Cavill, whatever his name is.
Oh, Henry Cavill. Is he not Superman anymore? What goes on with that?
I don't know what happens with that. They sat down with the guy who's pretty he's older now. They sat down with the guy that wrote the books, because they were books before they were a game. And he said, I believe, he was in front of an audience. He said, I believe that my job as a creative consultant for this series is to make sure that at no point in the show Ed Sheeran sings.
Oh, whoa. Why would he be singing?
And then there was applause. And then he said, and that I will make sure does not happen. No, he's making fun of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, he's singing it. He had a guy next to him that looked like a guy that has his haircut but looks like a frog, so that it looked good.
My favorite part of it was on Reddit, and it wasn't that meme. It was the first comment that was upvoted the most, that said, if we could get past Ed Sheeran's performance, we really can't forgive that time. What's her name with the A in Game of Thrones? Arya. So if we could get past Ed Sheeran's performance, we really can't forgive that time that Arya spent the whole season learning how to wear others' faces and then just never used it again. No,
she honed a skill that she deems no longer useful, comparing to what she's trying to accomplish in her life. And
an entire season.
Oh my God. I know people that, like, not me, but I know people that their least favorite character is Arya Stark. I'll make no bones that my least favorite character was Jon Snow. He's a moron.
The response to that was, I know, season 8 keeps me up at night still.
Who says that?
Just some guy on Reddit. Some guy or girl on Reddit.
That's funny. That's funny stuff.
Yeah.
Did you finish it or no?
Yeah, I've had it finished.
What'd you think?
The last season stinks. There were really cool moments, but it was super, super rushed. when they didn't have to. And then they're like, yeah, but we want that Star Wars money. And then the Star Wars people are like, get the F out. And they're like, oh, we don't got the Star Wars money.
We're sending our lawyers right now.
Maybe we should have finished Game of Thrones.
No, they did. They gave it an ending where it wasn't the ending everyone wanted. It's not a happy ending. And for that reason, I did like the ending.
Yeah.
I thought that Daenerys Stormborn was going to clear the board, and she started to, but she couldn't finish it because, well, if you watch the show, you'll know why.
Right.
I love that the Night's King, is that his name?
Yes. Night King.
I love that he decided to finally move south after how many years?
8. No, because they went away for like 2 years, didn't they?
The first scene was a White Walker, and then
yeah,
and then they finally walked to Winterfell.
Yeah, when I talked to my buddy that was watching it, I'm like, all right, I'm finally gonna watch it. All this season 8 hype, like I'll watch it. And I'm like, so I'm watching it and I'm like, dude, like when does winter come? And he goes, oh, it just got here. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's been like 12 years since it started.
It's a really long, like kind of spring or summer period. And then they're like, all right, we're here. This is the coolest it's ever gonna be.
Yeah. And the show's over.
Oh, whoa, what happened? Oh,
yeah.
no, the show's over.
Yeah.
That'd be great if you just stopped it while we're
No, I'm just saying, and the show's over.
And the show's over. Basically, he doesn't make it much farther, which I thought it was a surprise. I thought he was going to dominate. And then she tries to clear the board, and I'm still like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with this because that's where my picks were. People were doing picks of this, that. I'm just like, no. The players are here to make a mess if they wanted to, and they're going to flex, and they did.
That battle at the what are the like homeless, the wildlings, that battle was insane when the White Walkers came after them when they were at the wildling place.
They silenced their torches. So
basically,
they ate them like an appetizer.
Yeah, because that's where the meme
resurrected them to be part of their.
That's where the meme comes from, where the Night King's standing on the thing and he's like,
yeah.
Did you ever see the one where he's like
doing they make him into a dance? Yeah, he's doing the necromancer thing. All he is a necromancer, a really strong one. He has 9 mana battery. What all the guys with him that are on the horses are mana batteries. He keeps everyone alive, and if he dies, everything falls apart.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, it's the only problem in his plan, man. That's a kink right there.
Yeah.
How we doing on time?
Hour and 7 minutes.
It's not bad. I'm getting static electricity.
Oh man, don't rub your feet on the carpet.
There is no carpet. It's a hardwood floor.
Oh, don't rub your feet on the hardwood floor. All right, that's it.
Keep going?
I mean, if you have anything else.
I don't have anything else. I got my water though.
Nah, we'll call it tonight. Probably nothing tomorrow because New Year's Eve festivities. We could try New Year's Day. I'm doing nothing. I'm gonna be here. I'll be. I'm working, and then I'm putting the baby to bed at 7, and then hopefully hanging out here with Michelle. So
cool. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for listening. If you want to watch any other videos or listen to the audio version is on anchor.fm/Seftimor. That also has links to everywhere major podcasts are distributed. So your Apple, your Spotify, your Google, your Pocket Cast if you're on Android. That's the one I personally use for podcasts. And then we're on YouTube if you want to watch the video. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere if you want to watch the video. And then home base is seftimorlive.com. That's where I upload everything that we do with the B Plus podcast or otherwise. Nasum, you have anything you want to shill?
I started using better equipment. I already had a good camera. I upgraded to a Blue Yeti mic, and I'm using these Grotto headsets plugged into it. And this was all plug and play. It was very easy to do. I can recommend it to anyone, and it's super affordable.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.